Hello, welcome to Separated by Water. I'm joined by my happy co-host, Colin Campbell, after the victory in Bilbao. Colin, congratulations. How does it feel?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It feels wonderful. It really does. I've moved through a spectrum of emotions. If you remember our last podcast, I was very superstitiously fearing the worst and coming up with every scenario in which United would win, including the Bruno Fernandes dodgy penalty.
Let's say it
And
as
then
it
we're,
was. You were very negative. You were negative.
well, not negative in the sense that everything's bad. I just felt that
No,
through
no.
years of experience,
Yeah.
the gods would collide. Still the 2019 Champions League final, where that 18-second penalty. Not that I've obviously got over that. So I was waiting for another one, it would last for another 6 or 7 years. So when we got, from my point of view, getting up
Tell
three
me about
o'clock in the morning,
tell me
yeah,
about your day. No, I don't want to know about
yeah,
the pints and the coach and horses. I mean,
no, no,
when you
you'll
got to the
not.
stadium, you know, um, tell me about the experience. What much was your seat? Was it a tenner to get into it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, which was just fine. But in that way, getting over from where I live in Drummold, 3 o'clock in the morning, 20 past 3, emerging either on 3, 20 past 3 rise, 10 to 4 out the door with a mug of coffee or flask of coffee, and down the road, getting there about 5ish, and first pint about half. Flight was good over. Starting to get a better feeling about it, and as we got close, we decided just to go straight to the ground and leave our bags there,
Uh,
which was a good idea. And once we got in, the atmosphere was building beautifully, and I started to think maybe, just maybe, please God, let this happen. So that was that. We had to have a few beers in the Coach and Horses, the stadium, and so on. Great pubs, great boozers, as I call them, and met a lot of people, good big guys down from Scotland. Met a lovely couple, Lou and Yadette, and they sat with us for a while, so on and so forth. Got something to eat, went into the ground. It was a tenner. It was the opposite end from where our season tickets are, the white wall. We're quite low down. But the atmosphere was absolutely cooking, A lot of young people there, and they were buzzing, and we were caught up in it. I certainly was. As you know, I'm no stranger to a sing song or making an idiot of myself. We had that, a couple of beers, half a pizza, and then and the weather was a winner for us. The weather's excellent, and that changes
it
things.
makes a difference if the sun's
Oh,
shining.
it
Yeah.
does. And the view's excellent. The white wall isn't tiered in the way that the north stand is. It's a sort of a slope of like the Dortmund concept. Uh, and it was a great place to watch the match. We're probably a wee bit lower down for our liking compared to where we are in our own seats, but perfectly placed for the screens.
Right.
There was no reflection. There was no, some of these screens can be hard to watch. This was easy. Sound was good, atmosphere good, and
Spot
everyone
on. Yeah.
stayed very, very, very positive. So that was good. Everyone was bearing with it. Nobody, for us, it wasn't, oh, this isn't a good match or whatever it may be. We were, while we're still in the game, we're in the game. And when the ball came in and Brennan, got to it and whatever happened, it went in. I was just waiting for the referee to find a way of not giving it. Yes, Brennan, I'll come back to that. Yeah. The super Brennan. But when I
Oh,
saw the
super
white,
Brennan Johnson now.
oh,
Wow.
yeah. As I've always said, um, whenever I could see the crowd in Bilbao going bucked off the white, the beautiful white, we all then. So I hugged about 6 people I never met before in my life. Some of them are very strong grips, I can tell you, around my neck. But luckily, half-time came, a wee bit of refreshment and so on and so forth. And for the second half, mate Chris, he couldn't watch the last 20 minutes. That's what
I,
I'm at. He
yeah.
watches the match by not watching the match, if you know what I mean. I was kind of stuck there. But when it was like suspended reality sometimes when it happened on the screen where the save or the Mickey Van den Ven, na.
Yeah.
He was Mickey Van den Ven, that save, which was similar to the Forest one in a way.
Yep.
against Spurs. And that was wonderful. And a couple of points about it. One is, I did say in all my fear that I like the fact that we're back five, as I call them, were on. And that was Romero, Porro, Van den Ven, Uligi, and the keeper, Cario. I thought that I said if the fullbacks don't go silly and chase up the pitch, we could keep a nice shape. That we needed protection in front of us and a wee bit of creativity. I think we got all that probably, except just a wee bit of creativity, just enough. I think Solanke had a good game without really, working away. You Reds.
A door on tour. He does a podcast and he just stuck up with you Reds.
We're
talking about Spurs today.
Forest Red.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
You're
I'm just
right.
going to interrupt you briefly. The match went well. But I think your back five's nailed down now. I think that he's played really well. Talk me through Brennan Johnson. And you have been a critic of him in the past, not turning up. Top goal scorer now.
Yeah. Let me clarify a couple of points about our podcast and about things that we and I say. One is that I would differentiate between criticism or critique and negativity. In other words, I'm not going to say so-and-so's a clown, get him off, get rid of him, he's a melt, throw him out. What I'm going to say is I'm disappointed by how. And going back to Brennan, I've said all along that I think that there's a lot more to him than we have seen. And specifics would be, sometimes I think he can take a fullback on and beat him. I don't think he does that enough, personally. And the other one is he does tend to go missing a wee bit in parts of the match. Now, was it Match Day Tongue said our strength is our weakness and our weakness is our strength? That can be then that maybe defenders forget about him. And he's able to nip in ghost-like Martin Peters many, many moons ago. Suddenly appeared from nowhere to put the ball in the net. And he did that. And I could see that when the Spurs were over to the left, Fernandez having given the ball away, thankfully, Tottenham worked it down the left. Looked for a wee bit like they were going nowhere, but got a bit of space and got the ball in. And Brennan was there where we want him to be. And that is very much his strength. And I would like that. So I would love to see him get involved a wee bit more. Try to beat a player. And if he tries to beat him and loses the ball, okay, we'll just say, fair enough. Thank you for the effort. As Bobby Charlton always said, the crowd will always forgive you if you have an honest shot. So of wingers, I'd say, we'll forgive him. If you try to beat the player, maybe can't. But you'll know after, you're up against a player for 90 minutes. The first 5 or so minutes, you probably have an idea how it's going to turn out. So on Brennan, I'm delighted he scored. He might resent me saying the unlikely hero, but we're going to give him hero status. I'm hoping that this is the catalyst to knock him on to better things next next season. And I really would love him to do well.
So would I, or just come back to Forest where he belongs. But I think that he comes off the right wing. I think I mentioned this to you this morning when I was talking to you. I think he's best when he comes off the right wing and comes in, and he has that speed. He has the he just always seems to always be able to find the right place, be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, but you see, the point is there. Okay, take a scenario. When he's coming in from the right wing, that means that the hard work, the creativity has been done on the left wing, and it's coming across. Okay, and that's fine. He comes in and arrives on it. Puts in the net. Lovely. We love that. When we get the ball, either through our own creativity or an interception, it's when he's on the right. I want to see what's he going to do now. Is he going to create a space? Is he going to create something that we can use him as a channel as well? To go down the right and put it in for somebody coming in from the left. And that's my bet. It's just that wee bit there. I believe Angie deserves all the. Yeah, well, we'll come to that.
And Ozzy, we will come to that comment. Thanks for your comments, and thanks anybody else who wants to throw comments in. We will talk about them. Ange is our next thing we're going to talk about. We'll just finish up with the tactics and the game.
No, so that's what I want from Brennan. I would like Brennan. Maybe to be fair, that could happen next season. I think nothing brings success like success, and confidence is a similar thing. And I made a couple of remarks were criticisms of him intended to encourage him. I did make a remark one time you picked up on about I said he was injured because somebody gave him a dirty look or something. That was probably a cheap shot on my part.
Yeah.
But we had a player called Darren Anderton many moons ago.
Oh, I remember him well.
Or Shaggy, his real nickname. And what a wonderful player he was. But I remember him at White Hart Lane one time getting injured in the warm-up, and everyone off. Here we go again. And I want to be Brennan. I would love Brennan to be one of the top, like a Cliff Jones or a Tony Galvin type of player, a winger who Spurs fans just love. And I think he's created the right opportunity now. And I want them to do that, But look, I think we live in a world where criticism should be seen as help. That people who are relatively well informed or have opinions and don't mean any harm, but say, look, this is what I think. So I think he's a very, very, very talented guy who can maybe achieve a wee bit more. And I remember Jermaine Genius, I felt the same with him. I thought he was an incredibly naturally gifted player who only on occasions shook his arm. I remember him running a match against Reading. I remember running a match against Arsenal when it felt like, no, if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. I want Brennan to really assert himself. That's what. And by the way, what a goal! It was your goal. It was your goal.
He's only young too. He's only young, and he'll get better with time. I think he will get better with time. The question that's in everybody's lips, Colin. It's a twofold question.
Okay.
The league versus Europe, Premier League. Why was there such a difference between the two? And the second thing is, does Ange get another year to go again? But deal with the first thing. Why was there such a difference in the performance in the Premier League and the difference in the Europa League?
Well, the first one, it's difficult. There's two sides. One could be the motivation. If what Ange was saying over the last few days was that he decided in January that they're going to prioritise the Europa League because they knew they could win it. Fair enough. That is, in cup knockout matches, that's a precarious route to take at times. It all looks sensible now. But, if that was, or the other one was just about tactics. No, we were fortunate to have our defence back again for the final, I think, semis. And I think ultimately injuries did cost us in the league over.
I think so.
Over the space of August to May. Obviously they did. But I think there were other factors. I think some of our tactics. I've been at the game, sitting watching over the 100 minutes that we play, and sometimes even I can see, we're too open, we're too easy to play against, and teams were finding us out quite quickly. I had mentioned the Brighton game before. We were 2-0 up at half time and go and lose it 3-2. It was like Brighton 15 minutes to work out what was going on. And then there's the pragmatic Ange, which featured in Europe, particularly the away games at Bodo, at Frankfurt, and I know technically is there an away or a home game, the cup final. And that was the tactical side, where the motivation was certainly there to win the cup, but the tactical side was great. And I mean great. I admire defenders, okay? Baresi, Maldini, Alan Hansen, from the past, even Graham Roberts, blah, blah, blah. And I see the value and the beauty in that kind of thing as well. And I think that sometimes football can be exciting in the way chess is exciting. It doesn't all need to be Keystone Cup stuff or running up and down.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree. I don't think to win a game you have to go out balls out basically to try and win everything. I think that you can, you don't win a war by running at the guns. You win tactics. Use it 70. United is 73% of the ball, and to be honest, he's almost done a Forest. He's let them have the possession and moved at the right time, and that's what Forest have been doing all year. Some people don't like it. Some people don't like the they say it's not pretty football. I'm happy watching that every week.
They're probably neutrals, or somebody's only ever watches the game on TV.
Exactly.
If you want something pretty, well, the London fashion show's on next week, or the Chelsea Flower Show. There's a prettiness and there's effectiveness, and we've been pretty. Spurs have been pretty for a lot of years and won nothing as a result of it, and been picked off. in finals by the
But I
Liverpools or
think the Premiership has
you know.
changed as well. The way that games are played in the Premiership completely changed. If you take the way the tackles go in now, you touch somebody, they're rolling about in the ground. You used to have
Mhm,
Vinnie Jones and Graham
mhm,
Souness and Alan Hansen and
mhm.
so on and so on, kicking lumps at one another. The game has changed, the tactics have changed,
Mhm.
and I think teams have to adjust their tactics
Yeah,
to
yeah,
accordingly.
and that was it. And to me, I thought I saw great beauty in what we were doing. And you see, I've had this point to make before. You'll remember where I said that some sports lend themselves to pure tactics. You know, maybe cricket. You know, American sports, particularly American NFL. You know, where stats are there. Some of the stats we have in football, I think, are misleading. We're talking about completed passes. But how
Yeah,
many of them are sideways or with no challenge? How many of them actually create some, and chances? Well, blah, blah, blah. I
yeah.
want Tottenham. Tottenham teams are famed for going out and being attacking teams, and that's fine. But you've got to be a winning team also. And I am so pleased about even, ironically, how we did this. Nobody was going to win 5-0 or 5-4. I don't really, I know there were a couple of 3-2s predicted. I'm not sure. Well, I liked what we did in order to win it. I really do. And if we can do that more often, maybe not as extreme, but we can do more often, I think we'll be a better team for it. And I think the players liked it. They
Yeah.
all looked comfortable. They seemed to like it and stuck to
Yeah,
each of them stuck to their
they
break.
were sitting off the ball a bit. They were just
Yeah.
sitting off
And
it a
so
bit and
on. I
just letting
mean,
them. Yep.
yeah, I don't care how much possession a team has when they're not dangerous with it.
Yeah. And
To
that
be
Van
honest.
de Vaughn's clearance, it won you the game as well. That
I think
that could have changed.
sometimes there are things that are as good as goal, and that
Yeah.
certainly was. And he's probably the only player who could have achieved that. And it does highlight, what maybe we can be a bit more potent with our first choice defense. So I know I've no,
So
for those who say it wasn't pretty, well, I don't
doesn't
care.
matter. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's
For us, football's not pretty
yeah,
every day, but we've managed to
yeah,
get up the league much better than we anticipated by playing that type of football.
yeah,
So Ange has proved himself right. He wins on the second year.
yeah,
He
yeah,
has the moral high ground.
yeah.
I personally can't see a conversation where he walks into the Daniel Levy's room and sets the trophy down, and then he's told he's sacked. I can't see how that can happen. The first trophy in 17 years. I just can't see how that can happen. Do you agree? Does he get to stay? Does he get a chance to apply his tactics to the Premiership without the injuries and give you a successful season next year?
Well, a couple of things. Last Tuesday's podcast, I said what would be good for Spurs, and I said I said an injury-free season to see how good we actually
Yeah,
are. I've been critical of Ange, as I've been critical of people, but I love him to bits. But I did say I have issues with him. As you know, my main issue is Enoch, and I said, and they are to me the problem. I said I had issues with Ange, but those issues, if you listen to what I've just said, are kind of gone because he's shown me that he can set a team up to do what we did and to get a result and to be effective in real world football. And I love that. And I thought, yeah, well, okay, maybe you're not sure, maybe you just you do what you do what you do, but it was in a strange order. Uh, a league season like the one just passed can never happen again. And I think he's been very intelligent. I think he is very intelligent. But when he was interviewed, I'm not sure how long it was after the match itself, maybe later that night or the next day, whatever it was. But he's very composed and he set the stall out well. He started by really saying, well, look, we know our league form hasn't been good enough. We accept all that, and that's that. However, we're focused on winning the trophy. Someone thought we could, and we've done it. So he kind of put it in the right order. Says, yeah, I know the league form's been no good, but look, well, sad story, happy story. And in that
yeah.
way, I think that, maybe it's not a matter of saying, will he keep his job? It might be us saying, yeah, we'd like you, please stay on. Do I want him to go? No. Do I want to change? I want him to be more flexible. I would like to see if the board are going to support him, really support him, and let's spend some money, And I don't mean get a
Well,
check on that.
you've got an extra lump of money there. Is it 100 million for getting into the Champions League or something like that?
Yeah,
So
as long as that doesn't build another hotel, or going
So
bonuses.
what does it mean? We chatted on Tuesday night when Tim was on with us, and I texted Tim straight away to congratulate him as well. Um, what does this mean? You said on Tuesday night that the trophy is more than Champions League, and I do
Yeah,
want
to
to come on
me,
to where this leaves Man
yeah,
United's
to me, yeah,
their struggles.
yeah.
What does it mean to Spurs now? Champions League position. Effectively, you've had a more successful season than Arsenal have.
Well, well, yeah, that was an old debate. Getting getting the getting to the Champions League is reward in itself. Well, then to finish fourth or fifth or 17th, and you get there, fair enough. We do have a trophy, and there was a nice one there. Apparently, in Talksport this morning, somebody sent it to me. The question was, how far are Arsenal away from a European trophy? And somebody texted in and say about 4 miles.
Yeah,
Because
North London. Yeah,
yeah,
it's in
yeah,
North London. It's just not
yeah,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that was
That's a
quite
very
nice.
clever answer.
Like that, yeah,
No,
I
on a
think
serious note, what does the
who's
summer
had,
hold for you?
well,
Sorry,
just go back to who's had
what
the better season. I think it's immaterial. We both have had seasons that we have reason to be pleased about and reasons to be disappointed about. When we had Henry Clooney on, who's the Arsenal fan, I asked him a question: will this be a success or a failure? He was sort of going, "There is disappointment there." By the way, Henry, wind your neck in. He's going on there about how bad the match was. An Arsenal fan, 1-0 to the Arsenal. We won the trophy. Get over it. Congratulate us.
Thanks for being a guest as well.
And thanks for being a guest as well. Make sure you never come back. Um, sorry, your question was, what does it mean? I was just saying about the Arsenal thing. I think it's irrelevant. If they have something to be happy about, good. We have certainly something to be happy about. We're in the Champions League, so whether we deserve it or not, I don't care. We deserve it because we did what
My question is maybe a bit like
what does it mean?
what has to happen in the summer now? What has to happen in the summer? And other than just signing a striker, what has to happen in the summer? And what does it mean? Like, where do you see he's going in the Champions League? Do you think he can compete?
Well, well, first of all, I think what we need in the summer is I think we need to get to the bottom of why so many of our players have been injured. And, I think that's one. And I really do mean that because there's no point having assets, great at what like Mickey van den Ven and so on, if they're on the treatment table. We need them to be there. And seemingly is a parade being shown by someone live. I'm not sure. Tottenham Hotspur TV, which I have, I expect to be shown, and I'll be certainly tuning into that shortly. I imagine that key parts of it will be shown by Sky.
I was going to let you answer that first and foremost because I knew you were going to be watching it. But I think you'll find there was something streamed on YouTube or Facebook or something like that there. Yeah, the socials of the club should present it. Yeah, I think it's at 5:30, is it?
Yeah. Sort of starting about a 3-ish.
So Stephen, that's the best. That's the best answer we can give you, Stephen, is check out the socials of.
By the way, was it Stephen Delaney? Well, no, Stephen Delargy.
That's right, yeah.
Stephen Delaney. That's okay. Remember Stephen Delargy from Grace Hill Golf Club? Stephen Delaney. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we think it'll be Tottenham Hotspur TV and YouTube, Stephen. And probably some parts of it on Sky TV. I'll not miss that. Okay, going back to that, I think we need, if we get to the bottom of these injuries, I think we need to sort out who's staying and who's not, who's committed and who's not. And then I really do feel that a goal-scoring centre forward, and don't worry, Dominic, we love you, but who's in there. It's the wrong time to be negative about it, or not, to be talking about people. I think Richarlison maybe give us his bit there, and I think he may be away. I'm not sure about Romero. There was talk about him going on. Maybe this will encourage him. I certainly want Mickey van den Ven, and the others are very young. There's a good young nucleus there. There are question marks about the goalkeeper, who seems to be a guy of extremes, fantastic at shot stopping and flipsy-flapsy at other times. Now, whether that can be trained out of him, I do not know. I think there needs to be a kind of a statement of intent, series of acquisitions on the playing side. And we may strengthen through the midfield and in the attack. Those are the main things. Some players will go. Timo Werner will go. I think Richarlison will go. Maybe one or two others could well go. But with a couple of young guys coming in as well. And remember, Mikey Moore and Shearshank and so on. A lot of them will do, hopefully, more next season. What we're going to do the Champions League, I don't know. I think really get out of the group stages. But I have to say, when we were talking about the UEFA League being weaker, I'm not sure the Champions League has been that massively strong this year either. Aston Villa did well. All the other teams did well, but there wasn't a dynamic Real side, probably or a Munich team really. So I don't think it's as wonderful as everyone makes it out to be. What would I accept? Probably getting out of the group stage, but coming out of it with the kind of a sense of says, this is what it's like, we'll want more. I.e. the league form will get us in the next time. That's really what we're looking for.
Well, I think so. And you talked about the injuries there. I think that they had the similar problem with injuries at Celtic. So it may be something to do with the way you're training. It may be something to do with the facilities. I don't know. But he definitely deserves another go.
Or what probably isn't never to play Chelsea again, because every time we play Chelsea, we'll concede goals and have a lot of injuries. Van den Ven was injured in both games against Chelsea at home. Last season just passed and the season before that. Romero, the two of them were injured within 15 minutes of the game in December passed there. I do think VAR, the delays caused by VAR.
Live now at the moment. If you're watching this live, will you please subscribe to the channel? Will you please like and share it? And tell Andy about Andy. It might be interested in the channel. Just tell them about us.
Please do.
We have to talk about the defeated as well, Colin. Man United.
Okay.
Where does this leave them? And I don't mean to be disparaging. I don't mean to be down on them. I don't mean to be digging them out. But can their season get any worse? Could their season have been any worse?
No. I don't think United were ever going to get relegated. And try to be as objective as it can and leave all the silliness away. I think that it will be a crushing blow for United that they're not in the Champions League. It's a back door. And I think they kind of expected to beat Spurs. They were, using the reverse psychology saying, well, they've beaten us 3 times, so it's our turn. And there were pundits on, United sporting pundits who just, I think we're almost complacent about it all, All they did was fire us up. United, the model they're using at the minute, I don't think is going to help them. They're in danger, I think, genuinely of losing the status, that they once had. They've lost, I think, their, the invincible sense of them. I don't think teams fear playing them anymore. How could they? And then whenever it's like when you have a car that's a few years old and you notice something wrong with it, it's then that you start to notice everything else that's wrong with it. You know what I mean? And they're talking about what state the ground's in, and he wants to move somewhere else. Some of the fans are saying, "Don't worry about that. Just fix the roof, and we'll stay here and spend the money on players." The danger is that United may not draw the players anymore that they used to, and the only way, I feel possibly the only way back for United is money, good old money. And it may not be the Glazers, and it may not be Radcliffe. It may be that some oil-rich or whatever, sheik or something like that, decides to bankroll them at whatever it costs, if they can still do this, to get them back to the top, playing on the name, which is still a world brand. They are Real Madrid are probably the biggest names in soccer still.
Yeah.
But it may take that, and whether that happens, it's hard to know.
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think they're in for a couple of years of rebuilding, a couple of years of just having to accept where they are.
But the problem with that, Paul, is that sometimes it's like a team that goes down into the what I call the second division, whatever it's called, the championship, and they don't come up right away. As they reshape, they evolve into a championship team rather than a premiership team.
It's a different league. It's a different method of playing.
But the buy-in and it starts to level down.
Yeah.
And the danger for United is that they start to level at a mid-table, outside the top 5 type of team.
Yeah.
And that's what I was always arguing with Spurs. It needs to be a few players who are game changers, 2 or 3,
Yeah.
who can really
Yeah.
motivate everyone else.
Yeah.
United have Fernandez and precious little else, it looks like, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
So the major work, I'll read it to everyone's up for sale. So what I think really, in many ways, a massive, massive oil chic type thing, injection of cash and the determination to bring them back to the top, I think is what's needed. Otherwise, I think it could be a few painful years for them and for us. Just to say, if Levy doesn't,
You need a good owner. You need an owner that's prepared to spend money and is committed to the club.
Realize,
Not in there to,
they made a balls of it when we reached the Champions League final. We went backwards after that for the most part. Let's learn from that. I remember sitting in 2019, about a month after the Champions League final, with a friend having lunch, and we're talking about football, needs to say. I said, the Champions League final will only be of any value if it allows us to kick on. And at that time, Liverpool and ourselves, look where Liverpool have gone, look where we have gone. Now, anyone would look at that and say, well, what happened there? And we need to learn. Spurs need to learn. You did ask me about United. I'm just saying that, I'm not saying...
No. And we've got a great question in here from Mike. And this is for you. This question is direct for you. Great question, Mike. Good to see a few old heads chatting. Spurs, thank you for that. How do you see the journey since the 80s? Anything you miss, or that's good, or has some things got better? Gaza, Waddle, Hoddle, Lineker, they shaped my fondness for Spurs.
Mike could make me cry. I could cry. I'm quite emotional at the minute anyway. What do I miss about the 80s and Spurs? Mike, just about everything. Probably the only thing I don't miss is the cost and the lack of the cost of flights and the lack of availability. In those days, there was very little. Gate 19, you call it, whatever it was, hellish getting across. And otherwise, it was Lawrencetown or Liverpool in the train down. Other than that, in the day, I was younger, fitter. I was in the Shelf or Paxton Road or Park Lane, depending where you could get in, because you queued up to pay to get in those days. Plastic pint glasses over the heads. I remember one time I was coming back in with 3 pints. It was home to Ipswich in 1982. And Ray Clements saved a penalty from John Wark. And the 3 pints ended up, of course, over my head and clothes. But Hoddle scored the winner that day. I miss the kits, that beautiful Loch Oxford I miss Ozzy, Glenn, Graham Roberts.
The kits, I think nostalgia makes the kits look better when you look back. I was looking at the Holston ones in the crowd the other night. Lovely top as well, and so I think that the tops. You'll look at these tops with fondness in the future.
Could well do, yeah. I think you're right, but when you're talking about the 80s, just everything seemed to click together. Archibald and Crooks came in. Hoddle, they found a way to play Hoddle and Ardiles together. Tony Galvin came in. Graham Roberts came from nowhere. I love him. And Amelia Alexic was in nets doing okay, and then Ray Clements came in. And it was just something very exciting about it all. So, yeah, I love the 80s. There seemed to be more teams in contention. You had your Middlesbroughs, your Southamptons, your Stokes, as well as, the traditional teams. Plus, of course, winning trophies, 2 FA Cups, UEFA, and a few other finals and things was great. So what I miss about the 80s, just about everything.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
Dominic,
great question, Mike. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Dominic, good afternoon to you. With 26 people viewing live, please subscribe to the channel. Please like and share it and tell them that you know about it. Colin, that brings us to summing up. Have a good weekend about it. It's an amazing. Enjoy it.
I will.
You wait a long time. I've watched you for over 30 years now, being miserable, and I'm delighted for you. I truly am delighted for you.
I thought, I mean, to say miserable, I
don't mean you being miserable. I mean miserable with the results and the.
Well, I think Spurs are like many things in my life. They give you a taste of it, and just when you're ready to really munch in, they took it away. And I think Spurs had always been doing that.
Metaphorically,
metaphorically, of course.
Metaphorically,
success or riches or whatever it may be, and that probably was. Would it change anything? Probably not. Because
Well, the bad
I
times
think
make the good times better.
yeah, you can get too much of a good thing. Now, I want to win more trophies before I die. I want Spurs to win more trophies before I die. I would love a league or a Champions League or something like that, of course. But every trophy for me, I've been consistent in saying I love all cups and they're all good to me. The League Cup, FA Cup, UEFA, whatever it is, we're in it to win it. And I hope that continues. I'll have a great weekend. I can see my eyes are like piss holes in the snow. I do. I'm tired but elated. It'll probably take me a few days to get back over it, but it was certainly worth it, And all the boys are right in Bilbao, boys and girls. Well done.
Yeah, well done indeed. Yeah, and I'm going to mention that to Charlie next week. We've got Charlie and Chris on in the Forest podcast next weekend, and I don't know how to get the energy to travel over every other week. I come back from the Leicester game and I was exhausted. I mean, exhausted. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, this isn't Michael Crooks. This is another Crooks, champions of Europe.
we know what we are.
Yep. Yeah, you finally
Yeah,
are. You finally
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
Can't
I
sing.
remember
Can't sing.
West Ham singing that at us last year when they'd won the conference the previous year, and we laughed, but now, well, fair play, boys. That's why we feel the same. Yeah, a big shout out too for the Spurs support in Bilbao. It was incredible. We were watching them, if you know what I mean, win the match. And at the ground, incredible. Do look at some of the footage. It's spectacular.
Just to say that Colin has sent me a load of footage that I'll put together. Hopefully, get it done over the weekend, and I'll put it up as a travel diary, as we do with various other people that give us content traveling over to the game. At the end of the day, that's what our podcast is about. It's about people traveling over to games and enjoying them and letting you see the experience of it. So I'll get that tacked together. I'm going to hold out the couple of ones that have a bad feeling.
Oh
You've
yeah,
done 2 or 3 of them videos. You couldn't escape it. You couldn't shake it off. It was just
I can't. I can't help myself sometimes. But no, I might get good feelings from now on. Certainly have a hell of a good feeling just at the minute. And it's amazing what it can do. And when you talk about Newcastle earlier in the year with Anthony on, he's about a third of my age, probably certainly half my age. For him, the pain's been there, but not to any extent the same way. I remember '87 Coventry when we were the suckers for it, and it's wonderful that way. And I just feel that it's like everything in my life's good at the minute. It just feels so good.
Yeah.
And,
good, yeah.
Well,
enjoy it because the journey home is a lot better if you've won. If you won a game, the journey home. If you've lost,
I wouldn't have fancied that journey home with my head at the time. I woke up at 7:30 thinking of a wee bit longer. Next one was 9:30. Just had to get up, get ready and everything. But then you're sitting there.
I was just surprised. I was actually surprised to hear you come home at all. I thought you'd have stayed over another night. Just
well, if it wasn't, I'm actually have babysitting duties tomorrow and Sunday. And had it not been for that, I wouldn't be here because I would have stayed. But I, also have a survival instinct. So I thought I better get my ass back here, and do that.
Question from nowhere: Where are you going to finish up in the Premiership next year?
Next year? Oh, no.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just. With nearly 30 people watching live, I just thought we'd
fifth or sixth. Yeah.
Champions League always is a danger of tiring you out, the away games for that, and then coming back to playing the Premiership.
Well, that's why we need more. That's why we need more players and a more pragmatic approach to the league games. Whereby we're not charging up the pitch like headless chickens and leaving ourselves open at the back. And I think it may be good for us to get that discipline, to close out games, which is shown we can do.
Yeah. So that's Spurs. What I'm just going to try and end, if you don't mind, we'll end on a wee bit of Forest. We're playing Chelsea at the weekend. We have our place in Europe. You Reds, we've done it. It doesn't matter.
What is that place currently? If you lose, what is that place? Conference?
Conference League.
If you draw,
it's all down to different connotations, Colin. We've got Newcastle, we've got Villa, and City, I think, are guaranteed now. So it's all about the connotations of what can happen. But I think if we do what we can and beat Chelsea, I think that will give us a place in
that's all you can
the
do.
Europa League, which I would like.
Yeah.
The other two, I don't really mind.
So what do you need? You need Everton to beat Newcastle. Do you need
We
Everton to
need
beat?
we need them to either of them to lose. Chelsea, we have to do our bit
Well,
and
you have
beat
to beat
Chelsea.
them. That goes
Yeah,
without saying. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
well, somebody's pointing out that Newcastle, Pickford, the Everton goalkeeper, was ex-Sunderland, so he'll certainly be trying his
Yeah,
ass off.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well, look, we'll just have to see I think we'll get Taylor, the referee Taylor, on Sunday. He doesn't like Forest. It's noted, and I
Well,
will predict now.
from what I
I
hear,
will predict
he
now.
doesn't like Chelsea either. So,
Well, I'll predict now there'll be a dodgy decision against us. 3 penalties against Everton last year. He never gave us one of them. Dominic Harris has asked, is there a special relationship between Spurs and Forest that I'm unaware of? No. We're just two great football teams, and we're two friends. It's happen to support different one of the other. There's no
yeah,
connection at all, other than
we did a piece of one of the early read about great games between Forest and Spurs. And Clough came in. That was Clough's first game. I think Forest were beat Spurs. No, I don't think there's anything much except when you play cup finals against teams, sometimes there's always that wee affinity. I think there's a warmth between Forest and Spurs, unlike, say, between Spurs and Chelsea or others that we've also had cup finals with,
Yeah, and I think there's always a connection with Ireland as well, where you've got the Irish players going over to them. I'm annoyed with a fly at the minute. Cal Kilson has just said there, when I thought I was forgetting about the match, Cal's a Man United supporter and regular watches and comments. And yeah, bad luck, Cal.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Cal.
Yeah. He's not sorry at all, Cal. He's not sorry at all, my friend. Colin, 42 minutes.
Okay.
We run over a wee bit, but I was happy. I really enjoyed that, and I'm so glad to be talking to you.
It's like
the other
therapy.
side of a victory.
It's interesting to be answering the questions rather than asking them. It's good to be disciplined.
Yeah.
Thank you. You were very helpful.
No,
and come on, you Spurs. That's all I can say. And look, my brother's a Chelsea fan, so I need to be careful. But let's see what happens. And certainly it would be great romance. And for both of us,
thicker than blood.
And for the
thicker than blood.
And for the podcast sake, it would be good for Forest to make.
So, okay, just to let people know, we're back on Tuesday night with Chris from Forest All Over podcast, and Charlie Vaughan, who's a season ticket holder, contributed before for Forest. So we'll talk all things not in the Forest. We'll know what our what's going to happen with us next year, what competition we're in. And then the following Tuesday, we're going to have two Liverpool guys on, and we're going to discuss their great victory in the season. So, anyway.
Stuff coming up.
Congratulations.
Tuesday night, when the league's all sorted out, all the connotations that you mentioned will we'll be there to discuss, as well as Forest's place in them, so it'll be a good show.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
We'll be
to look forward
to all that. It's not just about that. Yeah.
Cheers, Mike.
So, Colin, anything to add before we go?
No, just to say thanks to everyone who's added in, subscribed, asked questions, or made comments. It means an awful lot to us. We're trying to grow this nice and slowly. We're trying to be a wee bit different in that we're situated in Ireland, and we're talking about the English teams. That's one thing. And the other one is we want the debate always to be a level above. We're not here to condemn people, call them clowns, idiots, whatever it is. We're here to talk about tactics, about our appreciation of them, and about you guys, to give you a chance as well. So thank you.
Yes, indeed, and thanks. And if you are watching and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It makes a massive difference to us. And and share it. It just makes a difference. We're just trying to grow, as you said. Okay, Colin, enjoy your weekend. Sit the laurels of success. And we'll chat to you on Tuesday night. Everybody stay safe, and you Reds.
All the best. And you Spurs.